Hello there, everyone.
Hi.
And welcome to another video with me and Daniel of Danji's Designs.
Yeah. Oh.
Unfortunately, we can't be doing this in person right now, so we're bringing it to you live from Skype.
Live and not in person.
But, Daniel.
Yes.
Let's roll it.
Go on.
I always do that pause, and it's like we don't need to pause.
I know we don't really, because we could just cut it off there. But oh yeah, I'm Drew. It's the Great British Rank Off. What we're gonna do? What we're gonna do?
We're gonna.
What are we gonna do?
We're gonna greatly British some rankings.
Yeah.
Off. Yeah.
Awful.
And today we are doing
Crash Bandicoot bosses.
Crash Bandicoot. Yeah.
just like overwrite it. It's gonna be more awkward than usual.
So,
with like, we've only got audio to like judge when the person's talking.
Yeah, we can't see each other.
So it's just like, oh.
I mean, like, I don't know which side Daniel's gonna be on, but I'm gonna like look.
If you look now, I'll put it on that side. That's the side. I don't know what side you're looking at, so I just have to just look central. I was looking
towards my window.
Ah.
So.
I'm just hello. Shake your hand off the Yes.
So yeah, we're going to be looking at Crash Bandicoot bosses today. We're going through 1 through 4. But we're not doing it as like boss fight. Each one is a separate boss fight. So like for instance, obviously Ripperoo is in Crash 1 and he's in Crash 2.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing it as the bosses over.
Yeah, the overall character in like the fight and stuff, basically.
Yeah.
So obviously, the ones who have appeared in it more than once, spoiler alert, will obviously be higher up because they'll have more importance and the character will be better by default.
Yeah.
The fact that they've reappeared multiple times.
And we're not including it's just going to literally be Crash 1, 2, 3, and 4.
The main
numbered
be, like,
Twin Sanity. Yeah. It's not going to be Crash Team Racing or anything, because I know there's that guy from Crash Team Racing that I've forgotten his name.
Well, he's that memorable. he's already up there.
I never played it.
Well, no one called Crush as well, like the evil Crash.
Oh yeah, we don't. Yeah.
Yeah, we do. Let's include him then. He's not. He's
I mean,
he's not in the file.
He wasn't even really like the boss though. It was like he was there, and then like the masks. These elemental masks were the actual fight or something. I don't know. It was a really bad game.
Some BS. Yeah, the PS2 ones were just naff, so we don't talk about it.
I mean, like the game itself wasn't that bad. It was like very reminiscent of Crash 3, but it was really slow and just like weird.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's get on with it. So first up, obviously we're starting with Crash 1.
But Andrew, first we need to go through the ranks, the ranking names.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, fool.
So we have, as our top rank, we have the Cortex Vortex,
which was the name of the laser, apparently.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. That's sad and like trying to remember if it was or not, because I couldn't remember why I named it that. So that's the highest
then
one.
We have...
And then we've got Nitro
And
Fuel.
then slight low down, we have Nitro Fuel.
Yeah. Some really great ones, but not quite the best.
Yeah, they're pretty high up. And then we have You're a Gem.
Which is like the middle ground, which is good ones. Not great, but good.
Not great, but good.
Like the grey gems themselves.
Yeah. Then we have Warped, because I don't know.
They're not sane. They're insane. Trilogy.
Insane Trilogy.
All joke titles. And then
at the bottom we have Rotten Wumper.
Yeah, which is the worst ones. Completely.
I don't think
irrelevant.
Like in the previous two rank off videos, we've actually had anything in the bottom tier.
In the bottom one, we haven't. So far, we haven't. previous 2 videos we did
we-
Pokemon games and Final Fantasy main protagonists, so no, none have been quite that bad. So we'll see if there's any in there. In this episode.
Let's get on with it, Daniel.
Oh no, let's crack
Let's
on.
do this. Let's rank off.
Let's rank right off. Right, so number 1. These are sort of semi in order of appearance, but not like completely set, because obviously some bosses appear multiple times throughout the series, so
Yeah.
it's rough.
So first up, we have Papu Papu.
Yeah, from Crash.
Who was
1.
Crash 1, yeah. He was the first boss. He was like a couple levels in. He was like a chieftain sort of character.
Yeah, like a jungle chieftain, tribal chief guy.
And I never really understood his reasoning for fighting.
Well, I can tell you
I don't know if he was working with... Why?
Because he's thematically part of the level, and that's it. I think that's literally
I think that's pretty much it. I don't think there's like... Because I don't know if he's working with Cortex, or it just Crash happens to pass through and he fights this guy.
I think he just literally...
Because he wakes him up.
Yeah, crashed through the village. And now he's like, yeah. I literally just played the video to watch him, and I just ended instantly because it goes from about 30 seconds.
I think he might work with Cortex though.
It probably does, but he's probably just not explained. I think the assumption is most he's like under Cortex's rule.
The one thing that that I was going to say about him before we started recording and stuff was that it says in the ending he shuts down the castle, the ruins of the castle, and opens a big and tall shop.
A what shop?
A big and tall.
What's that?
It's for big and tall people.
Oh,
like clothing.
I thought it was like a clothes chain, like the name of it. Is that the name?
No, it's just like literally just a shop for people to buy big and tall stuff.
Right, okay. That's so random.
So apparently he opens one of those.
that's his character arc.
But the boss itself,
it's just an intro boss, isn't it? It's just like, here's the basic things.
It's really easy.
You got to dodge and then you got to jump on it, basically.
Yeah, but you can do it while he's spinning though, because like they give you like the key point where he smacks the floor.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to jump on him then, but you can just keep jumping on him and you can win like really quick.
Yeah.
But other than that, there's nothing really much to say about him because he's not, apart from like obviously like in Team Racing and other games and stuff, he's not appeared in any main series game for Crash 1 through 4.
Didn't really have any lasting importance.
No. So what do you think, Daniel?
So thematically he fits the level and the theme of like Crash 1, which is very like, tropical jungle levels and stuff.
Yeah, you see like it go from like very tropical and obviously like very it fits the theme. Yeah. And then as each island goes on, it gets more kind of industrial, where you get to the last island, it's like the worst one. It's all been taken over.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think that means he's not in Rotten Wumper. He's not the worst.
Yeah.
I'd probably put him in Warped, to be fair.
Yeah, I think Warped.
Because he's not good, but he's not actually the worst terrible. What have I got?
No.
He's just sort of...
He's not like...
Just sort of there, isn't he, really?
Yeah, he's not that great. He's just... the thing was that he fits the theme of the game and like the first island specifically.
So he's sort of like the first introduction to the
Yeah, and he's a good introduction boss.
Yeah, it's pretty easy compared to others later on.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's Papu Papu shoving him in Warped.
Yes.
And also,
next up,
he could have gone up one for being called Papu Papu, but
yeah, he could have.
Also, his arse is hanging out of his shorts, I've noticed as well.
Yes, it is.
So bonus points.
But that puts him right at the top.
And that's why we're promoting you. But yeah, second up,
we have Ripperoo.
Who
I have like. Go on.
I was going to say he appeared in 2 games. The main series.
He appeared in Crash 1 and Crash 2 as a boss.
Yeah.
He appeared in Crash 1 and Crash 2. So Ripperoo, he's just like sort of like crazy. That's obviously his whole thing, is that he's just sort of really crazy. And I think oh no, it is in the Crash one as well. He's like wrapped in a straight jacket. Yeah. And he's obviously like a kangaroo. And he just basically bounces around on both his boss fights. He goes bouncing around.
His battle was like, I think the first platform he won.
Yeah.
You have to jump between platforms, it looks annoying.
Crash 1's, I really, really hated the Crash 1 boss fight with Ripperoo. Like, I love Ripperoo as a boss.
Yeah.
And I love his like personality, that he's just all crazy and he's just all mental, and you're just like, okay, well, did Cortex work on him? I think that's the insinuation.
Yeah, he's
that Cortex
one of his little creations.
Yeah. But I really like Ripperoo. I think his music as well in both versions of it is fantastic.
Yeah.
I really like his music. The first boss fight, I mean, both of them are kind of hard unless you know the pattern of him. And like in the first one, it was obviously like you had to platform between the different platforms, and he went in a specific pattern between each health, and you had to land on the big TNT and make it blow up as he sort of stood there before he jumped. But in Crash 2, it was like a big square, and he would jump on different squares and turn them into TNT.
Yeah.
And then you had to sort of dodge it, and then he'd do it again as Nitro.
Yeah, I've just seen that.
And you just had to like link it to the Nitro and make sure you dodged it, and then you could hit him, and you had to do that 3 times. And I thought that was a really cool boss fight.
Yeah.
Because the problem with the Crash 1, even in the Insane trilogy, is like it's the hitboxes.
Yeah.
So, and it's really hard to sort of judge the jumps properly, and then obviously...
Because the whole point of the level is you're on the full square platforms, which worked in the original, but obviously because the error with the hitboxes in the Insane trilogy obviously makes them slippery.
Yeah, they're very pill-shaped. I think that's how Peter explained it.
Yeah.
They're not square, they're rounded at the edge.
Yeah, so they have so if you land right on the lip, you just slide off, basically.
And unfortunately, because like it uses the mechanics of Crash 3 for all 3 of them, it's not the same as like how Crash 1 played, so it's harder.
Yeah.
I mean, there's ways around it and stuff, and like people obviously enjoy the Insane trilogy and things, but I think it just made it too difficult. But I think overall, like I think, I don't know if he does, but I know like some of the bosses are mentioned in like the opening of Crash 1.
Oh,
like there's like a little sign. I think Tiny Tiger's in there as well.
Oh, nice.
And stuff. I think they're like on cages and stuff, and Ripperoo might be one of those.
Yeah.
But
yeah, because like the animal ones are sort of like working or like being worked on by Cortex sort of thing. So
I think because of his music, his personality. Obviously, like Crash is. I think that idea that is Crash is supposed to be set in like Australia, or he's supposed to be Australian.
Yeah, it's very Australian themed, isn't it?
Yeah, and obviously it's like a kangaroo and stuff, and I think he fits with the theme and stuff, and he's just. It's very sort of like Aboriginal. That's what I want to say. I can't remember. Yeah. In its design. And then obviously he's a kangaroo, so he fits that.
He's also like crossed with like the Mad Hatter from Alice in Wonderland, especially in the second
it's like,
game with his hat on.
Yeah, definitely. Was that supposed to be a hat, or is it supposed to be hair?
Oh, well, he's got hair, but he's also got a top hat on.
Oh yeah, I kind of remember.
Hang on, let me look. Let me look.
Because
it's got.
Because there we go. Yeah, he does have a top hat on.
And then he's got his hair out, and he's like, what? Yeah.
I never understood what that was when I first saw it.
Yeah, it's like he's been left down there, and he's sort of like his hair's gone long, sort of thing.
Yeah. And it's like in a mini library sort of thing.
Yeah.
I think for Ripperoo, I'm thinking maybe either top You're a Gem or bottom Nitro Fuel.
Ooh, I reckon I was going to say Nitro Fuel. We should probably put him maybe there, and we can maybe slide him down Nitro Fuel if you add more to it.
What have I got?
Yeah.
Nitro Fuel.
I think Nitro Fuel, just because like he fits and stuff, and he's just a really cool boss. He might not be the best boss, but I think he just fits there. He's like, when I think of Crash, like he is one of the bosses that always comes to mind is Ripperoo.
Yeah, he's just bonkers and has a character, and you know.
Yeah.
He's basically sums up the Crash Bandicoot sort of style. So yeah, Nitro Field for Ripperoo.
So
still on Crash 1, we go to the next
Koala Kong.
Koala Kong.
I just like, because I had Crash whenever I got my PlayStation. I had Crash 1 with it.
Yeah.
And I played Crash 1 was like the first game I played on PlayStation because my cousin had it and I played it.
Yeah.
And me and Adam played it for a bit and I was obsessed with it, and we kind of cheated to get to like the last boss and stuff to see it.
Yeah.
So I didn't see Koala Kong, and then I started going through it myself eventually, like after I'd gone through like 2 and 3. Because I just couldn't play Crash 1, I found it really hard, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna try it, and I got to Koala Kong and I died so many times. It was like, it's not really that hard. Like looking at the boss fight, it's not that hard.
Yeah.
All he does is he throws stuff at you, and then there's TNT.
Yeah, he throws it's like coal at you, and you have to like hit it back.
Yeah, but it's just like timing it right and doing all that stuff.
Yeah, because you see like multiple TNT boxes falling.
Yeah, and you have to spin it like when there's no minecarts in front of him.
Yeah, because they like act as the shield by the look of it.
Yeah, and I think I don't know why I had so much trouble with him, but
it's quite a small area you're in, like, because it's like, instead of him being in the same area as you, he's sort of in the background, you're in the foreground, and you've only got like a short like width to travel, so you have to sort of use your space wisely and not get trapped.
I just like paused it and was like the next boss's face on the thing.
Oh yeah, I know, that's sorry.
I think again he's just like another experiment. I don't know much about Koala Kong. I know he's appeared in other games, but for Crash 1, I think he's a pretty forgettable boss. I do always forget about Koala Kong until he pops up.
Yeah, he's sort of like, so he seems like a sort of henchman, or like he works in the mines or something, or whatever. That's the vibe I get.
Yeah.
But yeah, outside of that, he's not really, don't know much about him.
Yeah, I don't know much about it, because obviously like back then they didn't really include full stories and cutscenes and stuff. We just like we knew the premise of the game was that we were going to go and save Torna.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing about Ripperoo. His character was that strong. He sort of, just by his design, he had like you could sort of know what his deal was just by looking at him. Yeah. Because he had like quite a creative sort of combination of things going on. But like Koala Kong is basically just like a beefy koala, which is pretty funny because he's like huge and he's based on a koala.
Yeah.
But aside from that, that's pretty much it. He's just the muscle.
Yeah. There's nothing like super special about him. He's just, and then the boss fight can be quite annoying, and and I've seen glitches of it where you can, I think you have to do it at a specific point, but you can jump across.
Oh, can you?
Yeah, and you can just like start spinning him and get rid of him really quick.
That's funny. Just break it.
I think it's like when the TNT like blows up, you slide jump at the same time, and it just launches you across.
Oh my god! Just go flying at him. But yeah, so the boss battle was quite like, it was different. It was another different fight again, but aside from that,
I think the thing with Crash 1 is that all the boss fights are kind of different.
Yeah, which was pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, he's pretty forgettable. What do you reckon? Where do you reckon? So I'm bored talking about him. So I've got nothing else to say about.
Yeah, I think just because of all that, maybe like the bottom of Warped, because he's like, you know, he's interested in the fact that he's a muscly koala.
Do you reckon below Papu?
Papu, yeah.
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Maybe.
I don't know, I think the fact that he's a koala bear makes him higher than Papu, just because it's funnier.
Yeah, let's put Koala Kong above Papu Papu.
Oh, we're shifting stuff around already.
Yeah.
There we go. He's ahead of him, but not by much.
Yeah.
There we go. Right.
So next up, we have Pinstripe Potoroo.
Yeah, Potoroo. Harry Potoroo.
Harry Potoroo. Who, I believe only appeared in the first game.
Yeah, I think so. So that video when he starts, he's just like laughing maniacally on his desk.
And obviously, like, for back then, this was kind of like a standard. In it was fine for, like, obviously, like, in a kid's game for, like, a character to just have a gun.
Yeah.
But I think in the Insane trilogy they changed it. Maybe.
Yeah, was it like a goo gun or something?
Yeah,
like,
maybe.
Yeah, something like that. I remember when Pete was talking about it.
I really like him as a boss. Like, I didn't understand it because, like,
I didn't know what Potoroo meant or Pinstripe.
Yeah, Potoroo. Obviously, we find out is an animal.
Yeah, we just thought that was his name. So why's he called Potoroo?
Yeah,
that's stupid.
I thought he was just like kind of like when I first saw him because he was obviously in like a pinstripe suit and stuff.
Yeah.
I thought he was like a mob boss for Cortex, and he like helped fund the operation sort of thing.
You've got your own backstory you added to it.
Yeah, I don't even know like what his actual backstory is. I don't know if he's just like again another
henchman.
Yeah.
That picture of him on the wall as well.
I know.
Tiny neck.
Let's have a look, shall we?
Yeah, look up some backstory on Pinstripe Potoroo.
It's actually called Don Pinstripelli Potoroo.
Easy for you to say.
Oh, he was is a Potoroo subjected to the Evolver Ray to be Dr. Neocotz's bodyguard.
Oh, okay. Evolver Ray.
Yeah.
So he's basically been evolving all his animals into like.
Yeah. But I think he is it says he's very loyal to Cortex. Is not only the CEO of Cortex, so I was kind of right.
Yeah, he's sort of running his operation, sort of thing. Yeah,
he's also the bodyguard, very defensive, and is always armed with a fully loaded submachine gun, which fires around his office when he confronts Crash.
Yeah, that was the thing about the battle, wasn't it? Like, you're in his office and you have to hide behind his furniture while he's shooting you.
Yeah. After the events of the game, Pinstripe moved to Chicago and operates a citywide sanitation company.
Well, that makes sense, because in the background he's got like the sewery sort of thing going on.
That was like the big thing, like before his boss fight. I think you had like those sorts of levels of like the toxic. I can't remember what it's called. It's like toxic something, and they just like these people are just like throwing toxic barrels at you, and it's really hard.
Yeah, classic Crash.
Because it's like, the level is like completely sort of dead on.
Yeah.
It's not side to side like most of the other Crash levels. It's like front. Yeah, and it's like hard to judge where the barrels are.
God.
I really like Pinstripe. I think.
Yeah, I do. It's got a good design.
He's got a cool design. Like he's got a big sort of. He has got a big backstory to him.
Yeah,
in that
he's the important.
Like
he's important like mind the boss.
Yeah, and he's like obviously like the CEO of Neocortex's company. The boss fight can be hard, like if you don't know what you're doing, but like you just basically stand behind the desk and stuff. And I think it's fun, and he's just going around, and he's like laughing, and he's just shooting his submachine gun at you and stuff.
Yeah.
And he's just like, again, he's just like another evidence that there's something not quite right about all these sort of like these experiments of Cortexes. There's always something kind of wrong with them. Maybe apart from Koala Kong, who's just like
he's probably just stupid.
Yeah, he's probably just like the typical like grunt henchman sort of thing.
Hi, goon.
Hire goons. I think he's another Nitro.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's up there. Is he better?
Would you put him? Whoa. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Would you put him above Ripperoo, or would you put him below Ripperoo?
I mean, I personally, because I never played Crash 1, I don't have the same attachment to him. I just like look at his design. I think he's cool. So
yeah, I think
for me, it'd be below, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think below just because Ripperoo came back.
He came back.
So Ripperoo has like that edge.
Yeah.
And Pinstripe Potoroo just hasn't, apart from again, like Crash Team Racing and stuff, and those sorts of games. I don't think he's been in the series since.
No.
At least in the main series. So I think it doesn't quite make it over Ripperoo, but he's quite close to Ripperoo.
Yeah. Put him up then behind Ripper. Ripper.
Yes. Next up, we have Dr. N.Brio, Nitrus Brio.
Nitrus Brio.
And this one, when obviously, he is so hard in Crash 1.
Yeah, he's like a really important character, isn't he? Like he's.
Yeah, he's basically like Igor.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the best way to describe him. Is that he's like the assistant to Cortex.
Yeah.
But Cortex treats him like shit.
Yeah, that's fine. Isn't he like working against Cortex in 2?
Yeah, he is.
Isn't he the one who asks you to get the gems instead of the crystals?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Cortex gets the crystals, and then he's like, no, get the gems, and we can destroy I'm sick of how he's treating me. We need the gems as well. And he is in Crash 4.
Oh, cool. Oh, yeah.
He's one of the bosses in Crash 4. Like, story-wise, I'm obviously not going to say anything story-wise about him, because Dana hasn't played Crash 4 yet.
No, yeah.
But I really like his boss fight and how he is portrayed in the game. The boss fight is basically like it is here.
Yeah.
You have to use stuff against him to damage him, and then he turns into sort of like a big hulking.
Yeah, because he's using
monster
his potions, and he throws them at you,
Yeah.
and then you have to avoid them, and then he turns himself into like a Hulk.
Yeah, that's what made it really hard as well in this, especially in Crash 1, was like, because let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 health segments.
Yeah,
every boss up to that point has had like 3.
Yeah.
And you had to sort of like jump on these like slime things to damage him, which I'm not sure how that damaged him, but it did.
Somehow.
And then towards the end, he's just sort of like he drinks a potion and he turns into like a big hulking version of himself.
Yeah, with tiny hair. Well, tiny neck.
Yeah,
but still, his regular head.
And then he actually had, I think in Crash 1, he had the bonus stages as well, because like bonus stages were weird in Crash 1.
Yeah.
You had to like collect 3 tokens, and there was Cortex tokens, Torna tokens, and Embryo tokens.
Yeah.
And they were like really hard stages. But character-wise, I really like Embryo.
Yeah.
Because he's just sort of like, he's like an unsuspecting
scientist sort of lacking.
Yeah, and he's like the crazy scientist.
Yeah. Like
Cortex is obviously like the big brains of the operation, but even though he's like a bumbling sort of idiot to it,
yeah,
he's Embryo is just sort of like really sort of, you can see like the way he stutters and stuff. It's just like it's an interesting character.
And actually,
he's not like
he's only the second human boss in the list so far. The rest have been animals.
Yeah. But I really, and like, it's like, are the bolts on his head put there because of, are they just there, or is it like, has Cortex done something to him to make him like that?
Yeah, did he experiment on him first, or did he experiment on himself? Sort of thing.
Yeah. And then it kind of links into like the whole like Frankenstein stuff again.
Yeah. Yeah, because he like turns into his own Frankenstein's monster, doesn't he, basically?
Yeah, he does, yeah.
Which is cool. It's very cool character design.
Well, I would say, I mean, like, and he has a really interesting character arc with him. Like, he's working with Cortex, and then he's
working against him.
But then he doesn't appear again. Like, he might appear in those other games, but like in the main series, he doesn't appear again until Crash 4.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But obviously, you fight him in Crash 4. So I don't know, like, if he goes back to him sort of thing, or if like something else happens. I don't know what happens in between.
Yeah, I don't know what the story is there.
But I really like his boss fights and stuff, and they're always really enjoyable, as hard as they can be. And just seeing his character and stuff, and like how he interacts and how he talks and stuff, it's always really cool. And he just has a good personality for the who he is.
Yeah,
it's not like a series sort of like showcase. But when he does appear, he's always a really good character.
Yeah.
So I think he's Cortex Vortex.
Cortex Vortex, is it the first one?
Yeah.
He's the first one, he's in there.
What have I got?
I think he fits in there. Real nice.
Real nice. Cool. Oh, nothing's been a gem or on Lumpy, Andrew.
No. And I don't think the next ones are.
No, I don't think so either. I don't know.
Next,
we'll go on to Crash 2 now.
Yeah, we're not doing Cortex yet.
No.
Obviously, Cortex is the last boss of Crash.
He's the last boss of like pretty much all the games, so we're saving him for last on the list as well.
Yeah.
So we're gonna skip to Crash 2 and we're gonna go to the. Is he the first boss you fight in Crash 2? Oh no,
the first boss you fight is Ripperoo.
Yeah.
So the Komodo Brothers are the next ones up.
Yeah.
And the thing with the bosses in Crash 2 is that they are all. I think they're all working for Embryo.
Oh,
or at least the first 3 are. Yeah. Because like Cortex says like, I want you to collect the crystals.
Yeah.
And then Embryo appears and he's like, oh, I can't let you do that. I'm going to stop you every step of the way. So I think all the bosses are, at least Ripperoo, Komodo Brothers, and the next one.
Yeah.
They're all working for Embryo.
Okay, that's interesting.
I think that's how it works.
Yeah, because the whole thing about Crash 2
just...
is like, he's tricking Crash into thinking he's changed and he wants to get the crystals to...
Yeah, to save the world, but he's actually trying to destroy it.
Yeah.
Look, the design of the Komodo Brothers, I do like the design of them.
I like the theme and the design.
Yeah, and the boss is really simple. They just kind of... One of them spins the other one, and then once, like...
Throwing the swords.
Once he falls on... Once the smaller one falls over, like, you spin him, and he knocks into the bigger one, and then the bigger one starts throwing swords at you.
Yeah.
And you just have to kind of run around in a circle.
So, just in the bit where you hit his brother into the other one, and he just sort of slides along the floor until he hits it.
I know. And then, like, when he's nearly dead, as the smaller one's spinning, the bigger one will start throwing swords at you then as well.
Yeah. He does it in a big circle.
And yeah. I mean, especially after Ripperoo as well, then they're not hard. Because Ripperoo could be quite difficult, but these are easy. I think these should have been the first boss, but those like
yeah,
I don't
you do
think...
have big first boss energy, don't you?
Yeah. It's kind of like Papu Papu.
Yeah.
But there's like, I don't know anything about them sort of thing, because obviously, like, again, back then there was no sort of cutscenes in between levels. You just went up. You did the 5 levels, you went up, and then all of a sudden there was just these 2 Komodo dragons attacking you.
Yeah.
And
well, you could like get their character thematically, but you couldn't get them how they connected to the rest of the story. You're just sort of there.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Just there for like doing someone's bidding, and that was it.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't really put them too high up. I don't know how low down I'd put them now. Probably.
Yeah.
I don't know, warped or a bit higher. Their design's a lot better than the other 2 in warped.
Yeah, maybe the bottom of your gem then?
Yeah.
Or just maybe the top of warped, because like there's nothing, they don't appear again.
They're relevant, they're not pretty relevant, are they?
No, they're not that relevant.
Just sort of there.
Okay, so top of warped, I think. Oops.
What have I got?
Yeah, top of warped.
I think so.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm happy with that.
I just because like they're not. I think they're better than Koala Kong and Papu Papu.
Yeah.
They don't really. They just not stand out compared to like Ripperoo or Pinstripe Potoroo. Even because it's not even that like the fact that just because they appear once doesn't make them a good boss.
No.
It's just the fact that, like, because obviously we've got Pinstripe Potoroo, like, in Nitro Field.
Yeah.
It's just the fact that there's nothing really that links to them.
No. There's no, like, story there, really.
No, they're just like, oh, well, we are henchmen.
Yeah, we'll get you.
Yeah.
And we'll never harm us again.
I wonder if, let me see. I wonder if there's anything else on them.
Yeah, see if there's a
Like
backstory like the other ones you found.
Yeah. Komodo Brothers. They're in Crash Team Racing and Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled. The Komodo Brothers are genetically engineered Komodo dragons known as Joe and Mo.
Joe and Mo?
Joe is the skinny one with a lot of speed who's able to spin for a long time until he gets. Mo, on the other hand, may not be fast like his brother Joe, but delivers brute strength at the same time, but he's also good at throwing swords. Komodo Brothers were designed by but they, along with Tiny Tiger, were cut out of the first game and moved to the sequel.
Okay. Do seem like something that'd be in the first game.
Yeah. Yeah, they were tasked by their creator, Dr. Embryo, to thwart Crash's progress towards starting from collecting the 25 crystals from Dr. Neo Cortex.
Fair enough.
But unlike the Crash 1 bosses, when like there's information on them, it doesn't give you like a little thing after the game
like
ends.
the ending for that character.
Yeah.
They are now basking on a rock somewhere.
They're now hunting their prey for weeks at a time.
Yeah, so I think that's them.
Yeah.
Happy with that.
Yeah, I'm happy with that too. And next up, we have Tiny Tiger.
Tiny Tiger. I thought he was, even though he was called Tiny Tiger, I just thought he was like related to Crash.
Yeah, I did too, because he's got the same sort of colour scheme as Crash, but he doesn't look like a tiger.
No, he's got the same sort of features and stuff. So I was like, oh, is he just like
a
Hulk version of Crash? Like
Crash, yeah. So his first boss fight.
Oh, it's another platform one.
Yeah, it's a platform one. It's like the Ripperoo, kind of like the Ripperoo one, but like you were jumping around and he would follow you around, and then the platforms would start glowing red, and you had to get him on the red ones.
Yeah, you have to lure him into the ones that are about to fall. Basically.
And then they'd fall. And you had to sort of like, you had to be like really sort of quick about it, but also precise, and it could be quite difficult if you're not good at platforming. Especially as a kid, you're probably not the best at platforming. But, excuse me. I really like Tiny.
Yeah.
I think he's a great boss. He's got,
Was he like the next one worked on after Crash, basically? Like
I'm not sure.
The follow-up animal, because I get the feeling he was like the replacement of Crash that actually is loyal, sort of thing.
But I think he's another one of Embryo's.
That just paused on a really funny bit.
I think he's another one of He was created by Embryo.
Yeah, Embryo seems to be the one in charge of all the animal testing.
Yeah. So I don't know if he was created. I think he might have been created after Crash, because I think, like I said, he was mentioned in Crash 1.
Yeah.
At least with his name came up on like a cage or something. Yeah. And as we just said with the Komodo Brothers, he was supposed to be in the first game, but he wasn't.
Mm-hmm. He's even got the trainers on like Crash.
He does. I really like his boss fight in Crash 3.
Yeah, he was.
And that's sort of like where they.
3.
Yeah, and that's kind of sort of where they start really showing sort of characterizations of the characters.
Yeah, because the whole time travel theme on it, so.
Yeah, and then he had like at the start of each boss and stuff, they'd have, or like during the first few levels, they'd give you like a little mini segment where they talk to you.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really cool, and we sort of saw how his personality came across, and he just had like this really sort of like intense, gruff voice. Yeah. And he sounded really dumb while he talked and stuff. But I think he's a really good character. I like his design.
Yeah, his
And
design
then,
alone
like,
is up there.
Yeah,
It's just ridiculous.
he just has that. Let me see if I can find.
He has the classic, like retro platformer villain. Like,
It does. I really like in Crash 3, he's just like a gladiator.
yeah, he's part of the gladiator arena.
I mean, I remember playing that and that being kind of hard when I first played
Yeah,
it
when you first played
because the lions, those lions though.
Yeah, the tiny line.
It was kind of hard to dodge them and like spin them. You didn't know if you had to dodge them or spin them and stuff, and you can actually cheese it.
Yeah, it is like a very cheap way of winning, which you left in the remake as well.
Yeah, they left it in the remake, and if you do it, like the crowd start throwing tomatoes at you.
That's funny. I like that.
I just think he's a really good boss, and I think he appears a few other times as well. But like mostly, he just for both boss fights, as hard as they can sort of be at first. I think the Crash 2 one's more annoying.
Yeah, definitely. The floating platform boss fights were always annoying.
Yeah, but I really like Tiny as a character.
Me too.
I like his personality. I like his design. I like
his
the fact that
style.
in Crash 3. Yeah, I like his style. He's got panache.
He's a real go-getter.
I like the fact in Crash 3 he's just like a gladiator. He thematically fits with like the theme of it and how it's all about time travel and messing up the timeline sort of thing.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, so
And he tries to stab you that way.
he's also like likable because he's sort of like stupid. So it's like he's the classic
he's like the
stupid,
bumbling idiot.
hulking villain that you can just
Yeah, that's what they probably were going for, like you said with Koala Kong, but it just didn't translate well because we just
Koala Kong wasn't as likable.
no. I just think he's like
Well, you can just picture
Tiny.
You just picture Tiny in a cartoon. Like,
Yeah,
if he did like an ongoing cartoon series of Crash, he'd be like one of the main like antagonists.
yeah, definitely.
He's constantly being
I
outside.
agree.
So I think we should shove him right up there, Andrew.
I think we should
How
too.
high up? Is he going to be above Embryo? Is the question.
I don't think he'll be above Embryo because Embryo's just got some more characterization to him.
Yeah.
But I think he is Cortex Vortex.
Yeah. So I'll put Bubble in for now.
I really like Tiny as a character. I like
Yeah.
his design. He's got it all, Daniel.
Truly is the best of tigers, despite not really looking like one that much.
I know he just doesn't have stripes.
Yeah. The main.
So put him in Rotten Wumper.
Is he meant to be like a Tasmanian tiger or something?
He could be, yeah.
Like some sort of Australian, close to Australia tiger. I guess.
Yeah.
I guess. That's probably why I don't like it. Your average
Let's
one.
see.
Yeah, let's shove him below Embryo.
Just like spelled it completely wrong, but it's fine.
Who is Tony? Is he
I put Tiny Toga.
Toga? Well, he was,
Don't know
he
what
was
was going
from
on.
Gladiator times. People probably did wear togas.
Tiny Tiger is a thylacine.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah, what the hell's a thylacine?
It's a very good question, Andrew. Tell me.
With an ironic name initially created by Embryo.
Right.
Tiny is essentially a more rampaging bestial counterpart to Koala Kong's self-infatuated muscle man disposition. So that's how like Koala Kong is. He's all about himself,
Yeah.
which you kind of see because obviously he starts flexing and stuff. Apparently he's been in like every game, like just even in just
some
like a
way.
small appearance. Yeah. It's implied that in at least two instruction manuals that Tiny Tiger was Dr. Cortex's first foray into genetic alteration. However, this conflict with the established by Naughty Dog, who confirmed that Ripperoo was Cortex's first serious creation.
Yeah.
It should be noted, however, that Tiny was conceived for the original way. Yeah, we mentioned that. As the third boss under the orders of Dr. Nitrus Brio, Dr. Nitrus Brio, they attempt to stop Crash from gathering crystals by crushing him under the feet at the space station. And then he serves under Uka Uka and Cortex in warps. I'm curious what thylacine knows.
Andrew's just doing some research while we
Doing research.
do the rank up.
Oh yeah, okay, right. I see how that's Tiny the tiger.
Okay.
Not the tiger, Tiny tiger. It looks like that's really weird actually. I like the look of it.
I like its style. I like its trainers. I like its panache.
It's basically a Tasmanian tiger.
Yeah, I thought so.
It's the thylacine Tasmanian wolf Tasmanian tiger. But it looks very dog-like. It's really weird looking. It's like dog-like, but it's got like black stripes on it on the lower part of its back down towards its tail.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yes,
I think that's
so
perfect.
on that bombshell, he's up there.
He's right up there.
That cheeky little thylacine, or whatever it's called.
Are we doing?
I was going to swap the next one round.
Yeah, I was about to say.
We can put the next one, the third to last one. If you put it below the second to last one, if that makes sense.
So, yeah. Okay.
Because those last three then seem like final sort of bosses.
Yeah.
So we'll go to Dingodile.
I love Dingodile.
So Dingodile was Crash 3, yeah. Yeah, that was it. Now this boss fight is ingrained in my brain for the noises the crystals make when you fall.
Yeah.
It's just like very intense.
It is very intense, and then like he first appears and he's just like, break out the butter, I'm gonna make toast.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what he said for like years.
He's probably the most Australian of their characters did. Like it took 3 games in to get the stereotype right down.
And they did it perfectly.
Oh my god, the guy's stuck. Sorry, I'm just watching. The guy played and he got stuck behind all the crystals and couldn't get out and he's about to blow up. Yeah,
I really like this boss fight. It's kind of like the Komodo Brothers in that.
Yeah, it's a circular
stage, and then he does something in the middle, and you have to avoid it.
Yeah,
that's probably about the only sort of thing about the Komodo Brothers that it is, because obviously, like, you have to get in the middle, spin him. You don't spin stuff at him. And then the explosion, and then the ice crystals start falling down again. I really like Dingodile. Just like the whole sort of idea behind it. It's just like, why?
Yeah, I know. It's just like, let's just get Australia and just like put it into 2 animals and then join them 2 animals together and give them a flamethrower.
Yeah, it's like it's sort of like how a lot of animals are in Australia. They're like very mixed.
It's like they've ran with the joke that Australian animals look often like they bash together.
Yeah,
like bashing a dingo
so you have like
crocodile.
duck-bill platypus, and then you have like the Potoroo, which looks like a mouse, but it's like a kangaroo.
Yeah.
And then you have like obviously the tiny tiger that we just went through. It looks more like a dog, but it's actually a tiger.
Yeah.
So how was Dingodile made? It's genetically enhanced hybrid of dingo and a crocodile, having crocodile's body and a tail and characteristics of a dingo with an Australian accent. Yeah. Makes first appearance in Crash Warped, and then he appeared other times as well. I'm wondering like how he was made though. Interesting. He claims to be sent by Uka Uka and Cortex to collect crystals and tells Crash not to interfere. It doesn't say anything about how he was made, so I'm assuming that he was made by Cortex.
Yeah, I assume Cortex was still like involved with the creation of like a lot of the experiments, even if like Embryo was like the main one who did it as well.
Yeah. I think the boss fight itself is really cool.
Yeah.
It's really simple, but it can be challenging because he is the second boss.
It's a good boss fight in my opinion, just because it's one like the most annoying ones in my opinion are ones where you can just like instantly fall to your death. And this one isn't
definitely.
one of those. It's stressful
like, he
in
can still
different
get
ways.
you, but
yeah,
because all the fireballs start falling down, and then towards the end he starts shooting 2 of them at a time.
Yeah.
And I think at one point, like you're running around, and then all of a sudden, like the shadow catches up to you, and you have to run the other way.
Yeah, you have to sort of like duck and dive, dip, dive, and dodge.
Yeah, and then obviously he's just got a great personality with like his jokes and stuff.
He's got a great personality.
And it's just like the accent and stuff, and he's just sort of like classic.
Yeah, as a
classic
character,
villain.
He's probably like one of the most memorable ones, even though he was in like that. And then
he's in Crash 4 as well.
As non-boss.
And he's a playable character in Crash 4.
Yeah.
And I really like how he plays in Crash 4.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to see like you play it. But
So
I think like
that good a character that he came back in like a prominent role. So
yeah, exactly. Like a lot of people like Dingodile.
Again, he's like who is it? He's sort of like tied in the way that he just sums up like Crash and like
I agree.
Sort of like,
yeah, there's just like certain bosses that just really encompass the Crash theme.
I was gonna say the Crash franchise, Crash Industries.
But I really like Dingodile. Just because like the fact that he is a dingo and a crocodile, it's just like
Call him Dingodile. It's perfect.
It's just called Dingodile.
So where would you put him, Andrew?
I'd put him in Cortex Vortex.
Would you? I think I would too. If Tiny's in there, I reckon he's got to be in there.
Yeah, I agree. But who goes first?
Well, that's good. That's hard. I reckon probably Dingodile goes ahead of Tiny, but only just.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they're pretty much around the same, but Tiny
What have I got?
just slightly less, just because I think what Dingodile has going for him as well is that because he first appeared in Crash 3, he has that he was already given a character.
Yeah.
And then obviously he appeared in Crash 4 and that character continued and stuff, so he has like this big character arc around him, whereas Tiny, we didn't really see much of Tiny.
No.
Like, we didn't see his personality in Crash 2.
Not really, he was just there.
Yeah, he was just like, he was a boss and stuff, but he was a cool boss, so he had like, a great design and stuff, but like, and then we saw his personality come through in Crash 3.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's ahead of him.
Yeah. So...
Now here's the annoying one, but it's mainly annoying because the only artwork for it is the official concept art. He doesn't have one of the little head icons that you can get from the other games. So is a new boss in Crash 4 called Louise, apparently.
Yeah. Louise. I don't really like Louise.
Well, it breaks the mold of Crash bosses by being more like it. It reminds me very much of a Ratchet and Clank boss in terms of scale, design.
Yeah, it doesn't really fit as a Crash boss, and it was different as well because it was just in a level. Yeah,
it wasn't like an end stage or something.
It wasn't like it wasn't its own separate level. It was just in a level, and it's just like you get to the end of it, and then all of a sudden this boss pops up just before you get to the end. It's like, oh, what?
Yeah.
I mean, you see it coming because like the area is massive.
Yeah.
But as you can see from like the video and stuff, you jump on the jet board, and it just pops up.
Yeah.
And you have to lure like these, I think they're like rats on barrels, and you have to lure them into the tentacles, and they blow up, and then that's it.
Yeah.
And it's not too hard, but it can be annoying because like the way that those rat things are really annoying because they do home in on you. You can see like they just home in on you.
They're just coming straight
for you.
And
if you get trapped in a corner or whatever, it's really frustrating.
It's well annoying. There's like 3 tentacles going on.
Yeah. And I don't know if like it starts off like that, but I noticed on the tentacles like there's like plasters.
Yeah, that's cool. Little bandages.
So I think maybe like I don't know, are they I can't tell. Yeah, it looks like the bandages, but it looks like the suction cups as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, it's just like, it's kind of a forgettable boss, because like when you said, oh, Louise isn't in this video, I was like, who the hell's Louise?
Exactly, yeah. Because it's not really a character, it's basically just sort of like...
It's just like a monster at the end of the level. Exactly. There's no like sort of story reason behind it either, it's just there.
Yeah, it's just like, lives in the swamp area, wherever it is.
Yeah. And then you kill it and you just leave. So I'd honestly...
So you're going to throw in Rotten Wumper, Andrew?
Yes, I am. I'm going to put Louise in Rotten Wumper.
Rotten
because...
What have I got?
just because like there was nothing about her. She just popped up at the end of the level, and that was it. And then it was just like, it was kind of more frustrating because a lot of the levels in Crash 4 you'll see are very long, and they're very intense, and they expect you to like do it in 3 lives, and sometimes it's like impossible.
Yeah, no chance.
And like I said, she just pops up, and you beat her up, and then she's done, and you're just like, okay, I'll just move on to the next level. Then there's no sort of like, oh, this is a cool boss fight sort of thing. It just happens.
Yeah, it's just a boss fight. It's just like a final hurdle to the level.
Yeah, it's like a final hurdle to the level that wasn't needed, and it's like it breaks away from the Crash tradition of having the bosses in their own level.
Yeah, having their own sort
of
importance. It's just sort of there.
Yeah. So yeah, I didn't like.
I mean, the best thing about it is its design is pretty cool, but again, it doesn't seem to fit. I mean, it fits in Crash 4 because Crash 4, obviously, graphically wise.
But even then, it's just like when you think of the swamp or like the bayou, I don't think of some
mutated fish.
Big, mutated fish, like weird mud skipper thing.
Yeah.
With tentacles.
Yeah, it's just.
I mean, like Cortex could have put it there, I guess, or something, but it just doesn't seem to. It's just there.
I feel like if it was a Crash boss, it should have some sort of little other character on it, riding it, or something.
Yeah.
I feel like
it could have had like one of the old bosses or something just riding it.
Yeah, I feel like it should be an accompaniment to another, like an actual character, as opposed to just being on its own. So I can understand you putting it in the lowest one.
Yeah.
Because it's sort of out of place amongst the bosses here.
And that was the only one that was new to Crash 4. All the others are ones that have appeared before.
Yeah, returning bosses. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So get in the bin. Get in the Wumpa pile. The rotten Wumpa basket. So next we have, we're back to classic bosses. We're going for N.Gin.
Yeah. Yes.
Who was basically like a replacement for Embryo for Cortex, wasn't he? So like a second-in-command scientist.
Yeah, he replaced Embryo in Crash 2. And then they just he was just like a really cool character.
Yeah.
Like he appeared in the opening of Crash 2. When I first saw him and stuff, I didn't like him that much, but then like over the time he just like grew on me, and I really, really like him as a character.
Yeah. So while Embryo was sort of the mad chemistry scientist, N.Gin's the more like to do with like science fiction, technology and advanced stuff. Because like Embryo like was in his like little castle, like his very gothic sort of thing. He was like Frankenstein, and it like N.Gin's like in his like laboratory, just like space and stuff.
Yeah, and every time you fight him, he's always in some sort of mech. You never fight him just like as he is.
Yeah.
I like the fact that he just has like a rocket attached to his head.
Yeah, there's a nuke in his head lodged in for some reason.
Yeah, it's just like, is that like, did he just like really like the fashion sense that he was going for? Is it like,
bloody,
it really adds
gorgeous.
To his, it really adds to his character though that he's just like some like mad scientist inventor.
Nothing says mad scientist like an actual rocket sticking out your head.
Actual rocket, actual nuclear device sticking from your cranium.
Yeah. It's like, did it land there in experiment and he just built like a robotic side of his face to keep it from exploding? Or
yeah.
Is it actually
it's like his face melted underneath.
Yeah.
Because his eye looks, his right eye, is always like really weird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and it's massive. Like, is it just like burn underneath or something? So the first time you fight him is in Crash 2, and he is the fourth boss. And I think from this point onwards is where like Crash is like, oh well, Cortex is still evil.
Yeah.
Sort of thing, and he's trying to get the crystals from Crash for Cortex. And he appears, and it's kind of a hard boss fight.
Yeah. I remember.
Like the thing with N.Gin is that his boss fights are always kind of difficult.
Yeah, because he's like he's always like pretty much the end, second to last boss sort of vibe.
Yeah. Except in Crash 4.
Yes.
Where he was the first boss.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get to that in a minute. I think my favorite boss fight is Crash 3's, where you're in the spaceship and you're like flying over the earth. Yeah, you fight him as Coco, and then Pura.
Yeah, comes with a little attachment.
Yeah, and he's got like the little tiger like attached to it.
Like
when I first saw it, I thought it was Crash, and then I was like, oh no, it's Pura.
Yeah, because in Crash 2 you sort of fight him on a space station, but you're inside it on the platform. But in 3 you're actually on this is like the moon or something.
Yeah, and it's just like he's flying through
Dr. Robotnik style mech.
Yeah, and he's just sort of like really. They're always really difficult. Like the first boss fight you do with him in 2, he's got rockets and he's shooting rockets at you. And you have to kind of step on each platform and attack him when they open, and you shoot Wumpa Fruit at him.
Yeah.
While he's shooting rockets at you. And you have to keep kind of move him, and then he starts destroying the platforms as well.
That's that, yes.
And then obviously like this, the one in Crash 3 seems to be an evolution of this, because it has the same sort of missile thing going on.
Yeah.
But they're always, like with him, they're always kind of multi-phase. Like he starts, obviously, he's like shooting rockets in the first bit, and then once you destroy both of those, he starts destroying the platforms.
Yeah, like,
but then in Crash 3... In Crash 3, like, you destroy, like, the first phase, you destroy all the guns and the rocket launchers and stuff, and then all of a sudden he like, switches it, and it's like a giant spaceship.
Yeah, like, turns to a spaceship.
And in Crash 4, like, again, he has, like, a multi-phase thing, and it's like it's a really weird boss fight, but I really like the boss fight.
Yeah, is he on the drums?
Yeah, he's, like, in a giant, like, ape machine. It's like a giant monkey that plays drums. It's kind of like Rillaboom.
No, I know where that came from.
Yeah. And he, it just keeps like, and you have to sort of like, he launches like waves at you and you have to jump or duck him.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the start of the next boss's phase in. We'll talk about in a minute. And then you have to run up to him and like use the platforms to get up to him to hit him, and then it flies back. But then you've got like these like, because no, I won't tell you that bit. You have these like guys like running at you, with masks on, and you have to kind of hit them back at him to like break it, so then you can run up and jump and attack him. But then there's like a final phase to it where there's like you're doing platforming to get to it, and that is hard.
Yeah.
But like they're always like really intense boss fights with N.Gin, and I really enjoy them. And his characterization of him just being like a crazy scientist.
I like how he implemented the new mechanics in 3 as well, with the spaceship and the flying and stuff.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, he just has a good characterization, I think, because he appears. I think from that point on, he appears in pretty much every game.
Yeah, seems like it. So we're a big fan of N.Gin.
Yeah, it seems we're a big fan of the ends.
We are. So whereabouts would you put him?
I'd put him again in Cortex Vortex.
Yeah, well, like how far along?
Where?
That's the question.
I think above Tiny and Dingo, but below it Embryo. Because while he does have more characterization over Embryo, like Embryo's just personality and how he reacts and how he talks and stuff, it just gives him an edge, I think.
Okay, I can get on board with that.
Yes.
So let's
put him up there.
So even though he succeeded Embryo, he's not ahead of him.
Yes, I just think Embryo just has like a better characterization. But I do really like N.Gin, and I like his boss fights. I like how challenging he can be.
Yeah.
How he does, like, he is lucky enough to have that big characterization. Because even in Crash 2, when the others didn't get that much characterization, he did.
Yeah.
From the opening and stuff.
Yes, from the off. And we've got another end coming up, Andrew. Well,
we have.
Two more ends.
Yeah.
But this one was the debuting sort of assistant to Cortex in Warped, and he was themed around Warped because he was a time manipulator, whatever.
Yes, Dr. N.Tropy.
N.Tropy.
I love N.Tropy.
Yeah, I was gonna say I can see a new top favourite coming.
Yeah, I think he's just like a really good character. Like he obviously had like the whole thing of him being the excuse me, he had the whole time mechanic going for him, and then I like they took this out of the remake, but like at the start of the boss fight, he winds the clock up and then he spins round, he knocks the clock over, but in the other one he just pushes it over.
Okay, that's weird.
He just like kind of makes it hide sort of thing, but in this one he actually knocks it, and he's like really annoyed that you're like there.
Yeah,
you're messing up his plans and stuff.
One thing I didn't note, I forgot about in this fight was the fact that when he hits the ground and it flips the arena, it changes the time zone in the like surrounding area.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, like it like changes to between the different zones of the levels, which is cool. Forgot about that.
It's really cool.
So, so it's like you're battling in free time sort of thing.
Yeah, he has like one of the best boss musics in the game.
Yeah.
I love his boss music. It's so good.
Do you know?
Obviously, he's in Crash. Go on.
I was gonna say, the annoying thing about the fight is it's another platform one, but it's not like it's unlike the time when you're not constantly on a fallable platform.
Yeah, it's just like you're switching between it.
Ones. You have to sort of jump across to it. Go on, 4.
I can't really say much about him in 4.
Well, I know there's an alternate dimension version of it.
Yeah,
so you fight both of them.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
It was a really hard boss fight, that, actually.
Yeah.
But, like, how it goes about and stuff is just really cool. There's, like, a section before it that's really awesome as well.
Yeah.
And it leads into it, sort of thing. But, like, it's just a really cool boss fight, and he just has a great personality in how he... It's just... I don't know how to describe it.
This is great personality. He has
they just did a
vibe.
Really
good... he's sort of like, he fills another like scientist role, but he's got like a more like, then he seems more important.
He's very, yeah, he has like an entitled sense of worth.
This is basically, he could basically be the like, you could basically
just be the main villain.
Yeah, he could have been fill the role that Cortex is.
I thought he was going to be.
Yeah.
I didn't think he was going to be the third boss, but
yeah, he
was. Because he was the one like using the time machine.
But it does play into it because everyone's just going haywire after you beat him.
Yeah.
So it actually works out quite well. But yeah, you would think he'd be like the last one sort of thing.
Like, just the way he talks, it's very sort of like smarmy, and he's like very all about his talents sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
He's not he knows he's needed sort of thing, so it gives him a self sort of like
ego, big ego.
Yeah, ego. And then obviously at the end of Crash 3, that leads into Crash 4, and they like end up being like babies in the past.
Yeah,
at the end of Crash 3, yeah. If you get all like the gems and crystals and stuff, so it's like okay, well it makes sense, and then like how it leads into Crash 4 is really cool.
Yeah.
And he's just a really interesting character. It's just like he's got like this air of mystery around him. It's like, where did he come from?
Mm-hmm.
How does he know all about time and stuff?
Yeah.
How did he come about?
Yeah, he's just casually like blue for some reason.
Yeah, and then he just like the way he disappears at the end of it as well. Because when I first saw that, I thought they were insinuating that he was a robot.
Yeah.
But then if you look above it, he like disappears into the warp, and he just escapes.
Well, it's like his design in Crash 3 is like he's got pistons coming out the back of him and stuff. So it's like,
yeah.
You can't tell, like from the graphics, you can't tell if it's actually coming out of him or just like his backpack or whatever.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be from his suit.
Yeah, it's like machine.
Yeah. I like the fact that his like machine's got like a clock on it as well. It's just like everything about him just like fits his personality and his design and like how he is characterized.
Yeah. No, it's the height of Crash design.
Yeah, definitely.
In my opinion.
Yes, and I like the fact that it's just called N.Tropy.
Yeah, exactly, of course. Oh, for God's sake, I keep pausing it in these faces.
Yeah, and I think he's I want to say it's Nefarious Tropy.
Probably Nefarious would fit.
I think it is Nefarious. Yeah, it's Nefarious Tropy.
Nefarious Tropy. Andrew, where would you shove him now?
Top.
Very top.
Yeah.
I would too.
I'd move everyone down and put him above.
Brio. N.Gin.
Brio. Yeah, Brio N.Gin.
Tiny. You're all coming
Tiny
down.
Yeah. I think it's well justified.
What have I got?
Defo. Yeah, he's right up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And last but not least.
Oh, and also, you have got the it picture, but because he has a female version, the female version's kind of hot. So that's another reason why it's in the top. But yeah. Save the best to last. Well, we're not saying it's the best yet, but probably will be. It's Cortex. Neo Cortex.
It's Neo Cortex.
The main baddie
The
since all of
original. Yeah, the original villain.
The original
who
bad
turned
lad.
Yeah, the original big-headed bad lad. Who turned out that, like, when you get to Crash 3, that he was working for Uka Uka all along.
Yeah.
And he was doing all this to work for Uka Uka.
Yeah. Also, aside,
To take over the
there is
world.
an aside. The reason Uka Uka's not on this is because in these 4 games, well, in the 3 games I know of, you don't fight Uka Uka directly.
No, you don't. He's just always,
It's always
like, a side.
Yeah, via Cortex, so that's why.
Yeah, he's just there as, like, a side thing to like, Aku Aku.
Mm-hmm. So that's why it's not on the list. Just before anyone says anything.
Obviously, like, I think he's fantastic, Daniel.
Mm-hmm.
He's obviously, like, the main villain for the series. You fight him a lot.
Yeah.
The only bad fight with him, I think, is Crash 2's.
Oh god, yeah, that was like one of the worst boss battles I think in the series, to be honest.
Yeah, you just have to chase him and just spin him. He doesn't do anything to you. He just escapes.
Because you're in like that tunnel through space, aren't you? You're basically chasing him. You basically
it's
just got to
not that
catch
hard
up
at
to him
all.
and with him, but like you've got to sort of do it really quick, and the camera's rolling around and asteroids are there, and it's just really hard.
Yeah, and then Crash 1's was kind of hard because we were on the back of the blimp, so it's kind of like a Koala Kong thing where you had to dodge his bullets and stuff, and then you had to make sure that you knock stuff back at him.
Yeah.
His Crash 3 boss fight is really cool though, because they had like Aku Aku and Uka Uka just like freaking the hell out.
Yeah, like zapping each other, and you have to dodge them fighting.
You have to dodge them while you're fighting him, and he's shooting you and throwing mines at you and stuff.
Yeah.
And then if they touch you, you just die.
Yeah. Yeah, I did really like that. Was like, probably, I think that's probably the best. That's easily the best Cortex. Oh, I don't know about Falls yet because I haven't played it.
Yeah.
But
I won't talk about Fords.
yeah, because obviously it'll be heavily story related.
Yeah. But he's just the classic evil villain. He's got like the Robotnik vibe to him because it's all about like
manipulating nature and stuff.
Yeah, he's doing all this stuff to take over the world, and then he like manipulates you into helping him.
Yeah.
And because Crash is obviously like not that smart.
Well, yeah. He can't even talk.
He does help him. Yeah, he can't even talk, Crash. God.
Well, he can say well.
Yeah.
That's the limit.
He just has like a great design as well. He's just like big-headed.
He's your classic
scientist.
He's your classic supervillain 101, basically.
Yeah.
Because he's tiny as well. He's like really small, and he's got like a massive head
just, like,
with an N on it, so you know his name.
Yeah, they did really well at his design and keeping him. I don't know what I was trying to say. Just the way he's designed, it fits with the series. He's not human looking.
Yeah. Everything about him's exaggerated. in one way or another.
Yeah. And he's just like, he just has the way they characterize him throughout the games and stuff. He's obviously the first one we don't really see too much characterization of him. We just know that he was working on all these things.
Yeah.
And then you see like he was doing all these experiments, and Crash 2 he tricks you, and then Crash 3 he's just like he's trying to Uka Uka's finally released, and he's like, okay, well, I'll work with Uka Uka fully to realize our goal, because if he's here, we'll win. And then in Crash 4, like, there's those past video things, and you start learning a lot about him through those.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Yeah. He's just like the perfect rival to Crash.
Yeah.
And he's always been there. There's always like during that period of what do you call them, platformers?
Yeah.
And
Classic
stuff like they always had.
era.
Even before that as well, like obviously, even to this day, Sonic still has Robotnik. Mario still has Bowser.
Yeah.
But I think from like sort of Spyro era, it kind of started changing.
Yeah.
Like they kept it with, obviously with Crash, they kept it as Cortex, who was basically the overall encompassing villain throughout most of them. But with Spyro, it changed like every game.
Yeah, it did.
Like you didn't fight Nasty Nog in 2 and 3.
No.
Sort of thing. But
well, that's the thing with the trope of the sort of evil scientist. He's like, because they're super smart, they can always find a new way to sort of like to set a premise up for a new game to sort of get back at you.
Yeah.
Sort of thing, or to take over the world sort of thing. So there's like more ways you can go when you have that sort of mad, like super clever scientist guy.
Yeah. I think he's just
that always seems to have like unlimited funds and access to all materials to make whatever he wants.
I think he just works as the perfect sort of counter to Crash.
Yeah, Crash is just a dumb hero.
It's just like it's a silent protagonist hero who goes through just like doing this thing, and he's a hero, and he's doing it originally to save his girlfriend, and then obviously after that to stop him from destroying the world.
Yeah.
But he always keeps coming back, and he's just like really sort of, he gets fed up of constantly being defeated, as you see at the end of Crash 3, and he's just like, oh, I just want to go to a beach, relax, and put like a big ice pack on my head.
Yeah, but like halfway through the series, he just starts getting fed up with it, to be honest. That's why by 3 is like, oh, well, again. And then he pretty much drags him out to do it, sort of thing.
Yeah, and then like if you get all the gems and stuff, he ends up going back in time and turning into a baby. Which
is amazing.
Yeah. And obviously Crash 4 continues on from that, so when you see that, you'll enjoy it, Daniel.
I'm sure I will when I eventually play that bastard of a game.
Guess where he's going, Daniel?
Oh, he's the only one who can go past N.Tropy.
Yeah, I agree. He's the only one that...
He's the very top. I mean,
he has to be.
It was decided from the beginning, really.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
What have I got?
Slide everyone right down there. Boop.
Oops.
There we go.
And yeah.
There we go. Andrew, nothing's been a gem in this series.
I know.
Are we going to move any down or any up? What do you think? Because I think we sort of moved things around as we went. But looking at the final list now, is there any you'd think don't deserve to be a higher up or need to be lower down?
Not really.
What about Komodo Bros? Did we keeping them in warped or are we promoting them?
No, I think they need to stay in warped because they're just
there, weren't they?
Yeah, there's nothing. If there was like more personality to them, then yeah, I'd say.
If they had a backstory where like they moved to Bermuda or something and like to have a vacation at the end, maybe. But they didn't. So.
I mean, the whole point of Eurogem is that they are just basically they're not great, but they're not good.
Yeah.
Oh, they're not bad either.
I was gonna say
they're not great.
They're not great or good.
They're not great or they're not bad, but like they just. Yeah, they don't. They because they don't like. You could technically put Pinstripe Potoroo into there, and he'd be like, "Oh, he was fantastic." in what he did, but because he didn't appear in the rest of the series, you could put him down there. But I think just because of his personality and how he interacts with you, and like in the one time that he did appear,
yeah,
he needs to be nitro fueled.
That's fair. It's been a very like divisive listing because it's either been sort of like the top end or the lower end.
Yeah,
nothing's really been that average.
Yeah,
it's either been just like either like unimportant or crap or good or great, which is a pretty good list. We've actually got one into the bottom rank for once.
I know.
It's like we traded the middle one for the bottom.
I know, I was about to say, in sacrifice of someone average.
We'll sacrifice the average for a rotten one.
So yeah, let us know in the comments where you would put each boss.
Yeah, what about
like I said, we're not including anyone outside of 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
And 4.
Just the main numbered series.
Yeah. Would you say Komodo Brothers deserve to be higher? Would you say Koala Kong deserves to be higher?
No.
No.
The answer is no, but please tell us what you think.
Yeah. And join us next time
for another rank off.
To another great British rank off.
Yes. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
Yes.
Oh yeah, Andrew, plug yourself at the end.
Don't forget to subscribe to the channel at the DrewGamer. I can't even. You know what, Daniel?
The DrewGamer.
I can't. Yeah, thank you.
On YouTube.
Because like I just did like a big Skype call, and then after the Skype call, I went straight on with Daniel, and was like, yeah, and was like,
So yeah, the DrewGamer on this channel, giving him a sub, like the video, share it around, and you can find me at danjisdesigns.com and Danji's Designs on all social media. Keep an eye out for a new rank off, another video coming soon.
Yes. Thank you very much, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye-bye.
Bye.